My name's Andy, and this is the most magical podcast on earth. When I'm not on holiday at Walt Disney World, I'm planning a holiday to Disney. And when I'm not planning a holiday to Disney, I'm talking about Disney with other UK fans like me who make the trip to Orlando and the House of the Mouse. So if you too are mad about Mickey, then this is the podcast for you. Or maybe you're the Disney novice just thinking about planning that first ever trip to Walt Disney World. And as far as you know, Coco is just a mug of hot chocolate. Each episode, I'll be chatting to other Disney superfans from around the UK to share their memories of their magical times. And this week, Mark shares with us his favourite attraction.
The single rider line was 5 minutes, so we went on it again and then again.
Also going to be answering your Walt Disney World questions, getting you all the latest news from the parks, and if you're about to head over to Orlando, all the essential information you need to know what's going on right now. And make sure you keep in touch with us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. We are at PodMagical. This is the most magical podcast on earth as part of the Secret Recordings Network, and we can actually start talking about going to Walt Disney World because right now there are people from the UK in Walt Disney World. Flights resumed back on Monday with that flight with Virgin and BA taking off at the same time. That was actually going to New York, but it was so good to see people flying back and not just going back on holiday. We forget that obviously we're here to talk about holidays at Walt Disney World, but so many people who've got family and friends in America who haven't seen each other for 20 months. It's just so good that the world is getting back to normal. And hopefully if you're looking forward to your next trip to the most magical place on earth, then this podcast helps you. Last week, we had a bonus episode with travel professional Paul Charles, just talking us through everything you need to know if you're going to America, the tests you need to do, the forms you need to fill in, the what-ifs. We have got a few questions off the back of that I wish I'd asked him at the time, but with a little bit of research, I've got there. The two most common questions that people have been asking me since that podcast is, what happens if you get to America and you test positive? Because under 18s, you have to have another test when you get to America in the first few days. If you test positive, it varies from hotel to hotel, even from Disney Resort to Disney Resort. Different managers have different policies, but the general gist is you quarantine in your room. Your entire party has to quarantine in your room. So no going to the parks. You've got to stay in your room. They'll sort out food and things like that. So it looks like you will be spending your entire holiday just sitting, watching Disney on TV from your hotel bedroom. The other question is, where can we get tests? If you've got kids, how does the whole testing thing work? There used to be a free testing site at the entrance to Walt Disney World. That has closed now. However, CVS pharmacies in America offer free COVID tests. So if you're going with somebody under 18, you need to get a COVID test. CVS is where you need to go, and they will be for free. There's a big one near Disney Springs. If you've got any other questions regarding travel or Walt Disney World or any planning questions, do get in touch. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, PodMagical is where we are. Same place to go if you'd like to be a podcast guest. And this week we're chatting to Mark. So Mark, tell us why you love Walt Disney World.
It's an interesting one, and I think you end up giving the same answer that everyone else has given. It's an emotional feeling that you get when you enter the park. I think it's, the sights, the smells and the sounds. It's just pure escapism. And as soon as you walk into that, you just feel safe and comfortable. I mean, Disney is just fantastic at just immersing you, isn't it? In their own magic. And
yeah,
it invokes memories from your past that you suddenly remember. I remember watching, I don't know, The Little Mermaid on my nan's couch when I was ill all those years ago. Yeah. And then you just hear that sound again and you just taken back to time that you spent with, a relative or something like that. So it was always, for me, it's just pure escapism and just nostalgia as well at the same time.
And when was the first time you went?
I was quite old, I suppose, when I went. I was in my mid to late 20s, so it was 2006 that I went with a group of uni friends at the time.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it was, I can't remember the exact reason as to why they wanted to go, but it was just like, do you want to come? And it was just like, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
So, and there were 6 of us. I remember doing all the driving. Because I'd been out to America a couple of times before. We used to play golf in Myrtle Beach. So
right.
I'd been used to driving on that side of the road, and none of the others had. So I spent the entire week driving a Dodge Caravan round.
With a lot of students in the back. Do you like driving in America?
I don't mind it at all. I some things do make sense, like giving way on a T-junction or crossroads, turning, I'm going to get it wrong, but turning right on the red light. Probably it's left on a red light, I can never remember. But, when you're out there, it just makes sense. And, as long as you're at a red light and you can turn, straight into your traffic, as long as it doesn't tell you, it just makes, I think, the traffic flow so much easier. So I never had the problem. I don't like the I4, to be honest, but then who does? It's like our version of the M25, I think.
Yeah, but that's the freeway that gets you to Walt Disney World. That's the only thing. Got to take the I4.
Indeed. So sometimes it's just like, when you've got 30 to 40 minutes drive and some of it's on the I4, it's just like, never mind.
Especially after a long flight when you're really tired.
Yes. I think I've driven every the 3 occasions I've been, and getting off that plane, getting through customs, and some of the getting through customs can take you forever, can't it? And then it's dark, and then you've got to drive. And
by the time you got your bags, So, what do you remember about that first trip? What was there? What the standout moments from the first time you went?
I remember being in awe of the parades. I've always been a musical fan. Growing up, my gran took me to a lot of musicals when I was growing up. So to actually see a parade, a bit of a show, I remember that very vividly. I think it was in a glass. They were all in the glass bubble dome thing.
I know which one you mean. Yeah.
Looking back at photos, I did actually see the electric. The nighttime spectacular one, whatever it was called.
The Main Street Electrical Parade.
That's it, yeah. So I have photos of that. Don't remember that one, but
you don't remember it, but you must have seen it because you've got photos of it.
Exactly, yeah.
Memorable.
The other things I remember, and I actually questioned myself when I went back 11 years later, when we walked into Epcot, and I went... Because at the time, when I was going back my second time, I didn't realise that it was Spaceship Earth. It was just the big golf ball thingy. And I went, I'm sure that had a Mickey hand with a wand. I'm not going crazy, but when you look back at the photos, you go, yes, it did.
Yeah, it did. They're on the photos. It's on the photos. So why 11 years from that first time to your second trip?
Difficult question. Thinking back... Maybe I just didn't have any friends to go with at the time who wanted to go. Yeah. We went to Vegas quite a few times. So the adult version of Disney.
Yeah. There's a lot of similarities between Disney and Vegas. People may laugh, but that immersiveness and the bright lights and the music and the fun, it's all there, just on a different kind of adult scale.
Yes, it was. And then, 2017, when I went for the second time, it was a large group of us, and it was for a friend's 30th. And we did Vegas and Orlando for that trip as well. So, yeah.
Vegas and Orlando. Which order did you do them round?
We did Orlando first and then Vegas.
Yeah, okay. Build yourself up for it. And of the times you've been, is there a particular favourite memory that you cherish?
There is from the third trip, which was the trip I took in 2018, Thanksgiving, with my sister, and there's 2 standout ones. One was the fact that she made me queue for an hour to meet Winnie the Pooh and friends in their Christmas outfits.
Oh, the Christmas party.
Yes, we went to the Christmas party for that one. Yeah. The other standout memory is not Disney, it's Universal, but it was when my sister walked into Diagon Alley and saw that for the first time. It was just like awe on her face, and that I just remember, just the look on her face was just like, this is incredible.
I think even if you're not a massive Harry Potter fan, over there, I remember the first time we went on the Harry Potter ride, and I was like, this is something else when you're flying through Hogwarts.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I haven't been able to do those rides, and I haven't been able to do Flight of Passage either, because I'm a slightly larger gentleman.
Right, okay.
And so I did lose some weight for the trip with my sister, but because we went at around Thanksgiving and the queues were so long, I didn't really want to leave my sister alone for so long. So I was being the protective big brother.
Oh, bless you.
So I'm looking forward to when I can go back, and fingers crossed I can fit on Flight of Passage and, Hogwarts and Gringotts.
Did you know before you went to the attraction that you won't be able to get on? Or did you just go, do you know, I don't even want to try? I
knew there were tester seats at the front, but I think I never actually bothered to try. I just thought I'd rather go all the way through and get to the end. Yes, you do get the bit of disappointment, but at the same time, Disney will give you fast passes for something else.
Yeah, used to.
So, yeah,
I don't know what they're going to do now, then. They'll charge you for going on something else.
Yeah, quite possibly. But I've always been able to get on every other ride. So I was a bit surprised when I couldn't get on Flight of Passage.
Yeah.
Even Hyperspace Mountain in Disneyland Paris, the bar went down and always clicked in. It wasn't the most comfortable experience to wedge yourself in. But so it was a bit of a surprise and a bit of a disappointment, especially when, you've been walked out down the access corridors, and then all 7 of them turn up and go, that was the best ride ever.
Oh, yeah, thanks. That makes me feel so much better.
Yeah. It was just like, now we can go on Navi River Journey with the fast passes. I got you all.
For not being able to get on that one. And what was it like being with you there for actual Thanksgiving?
Yes. We were out. We flew back on Thanksgiving.
Right.
So we had Thanksgiving meal at STK in Disney Springs. And I think we watched Crimes of Grindelwald at the cinema before we then jumped on the plane.
On the last plane of the day back out. What was it like? Was it quite busy? Particularly
it was busy. The parks were really noticeably busier.
Yeah.
Because I was hoping that even then going with my sister, who was expecting that I would be able to jump on Everest 5-minute, standby line. But that was 45 minutes to an hour. And I was going, I can't. That's just too long to even jump on. So, and I couldn't get a fast pass for that. So, I was noticing that, it was very difficult to get the fast passes for the bigger attractions, even when refreshing my Disney experience during the day. Whereas, the tips that you always see from the American vloggers are keep refreshing Disney experience. It will come up. And I'm thinking, well, it's just me on my own and I'm not getting it. So it must be really big. But it was, you could tell it was busy. It was definitely getting busier. Yeah, as the week.
One of the busiest times of the year. We'll take a quick break for the news, Mark, and then we'll be back and we'll talk about hotels. The biggest story is obviously the borders are open and we can actually go to Walt Disney World, but I don't think I need to cover that anymore in this news. Going on at Walt Disney World right now, while the Christmas after hours events have started at the Magic Kingdom, they are very expensive, but you get to see fireworks, you get to see a parade, the Christmas parade, which has always been my favourite parade at Walt Disney World, the Christmas parade. It is a bit lighter than usual. I'm not quite sure why, whether this is down to staffing or COVID, but there's about 90 performers short of what it used to be like. I think it's about 9 minutes shorter than what it used to be. So there's less toy soldiers, but still, there's a parade back in the Magic Kingdom, and it's lovely to see. If you're going to Walt Disney World between now and Christmas and you want to splash out on the after-hours event, it is much quieter than the previous Christmas parties have been, because Christmas parties used to be quite busy, but because this is an after-hours event, queue times for most rides are like 5-10 minutes, and you get the fireworks, and you get the parades, and you get cookies and hot chocolate and popcorn and ice cream, Mickey bars and stuff like that. So if you go in, it's expensive, but maybe it's worth considering. Also, talking about Christmas, more announcers have been announced for the Candlelight Processional, including Andy Garcia, who you might remember as Fernando in Mamma Mia 2. He'll be one of the announcers at the America Pavilion for the Candlelight Procession, which returns this year after being missed out last year. Also, there's more entertainment for the Festival of the Holidays, including a gospel choir and performers in the Canada Pavilion. And it's Disney Plus Day today. There's so many new things coming to Disney Plus. If you didn't see Jungle Cruise on the big screen, then you can see that now for free if you're a Disney Plus subscriber. And if you're in the parks, you get in a little bit earlier. This is for all Walt Disney World parks. Even if you're off to Disneyland Paris, maybe you're listening on the train right now, well, you've got to be really quick to get in early. And if you have a look on your My Disney Experience app, it will actually tell you whether you're a Disney Plus subscriber. If you go into my profile, it's got a list of things in there. If you've been on a cruise before, it's got your status on there. If you're a DVC member or a Disney Plus subscriber, it's all in there. Have a look. They know everything about you. Don't forget, we'll keep you up to date with any news that might break from over at Walt Disney World. Keep in touch with us, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Podmagical is where we are. And that's where you go if you fancy talking about Walt Disney World. We're looking for new guests for the new year. We're talking to Mark right now, and I said we were going to talk about hotels. So, any particular favourite resorts, or do you tend to stay off-site?
Never stayed on site at Walt Disney World, always off-site. We've done villas in Davenport and Kissimmee, and we had like a townhouse one apartment with my sister. That was also just off the 192 in Kissimmee. I definitely want to stay on site. I do actually have a booking for next year at Caribbean Beach.
Okay.
So, looking forward to that.
And when next year?
End of April.
Not really too long.
Not too long. Not that I'm counting. But it's a split stay. So it's 11 nights at Disney and then 3 nights at Universal, staying at Sapphire Falls.
Right. Okay. So it's quite handy staying at both of those. Then you can be straight in the parks and
exactly
get as much done as you can.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be Christmas, New Year, and then you'll be off to America before you know it, Mark.
It'll come round quicker than you realise sometimes, doesn't it?
What about food? Have you got any favourite places to eat in the parks, outside the parks?
In the park, I really do like Satuli Canteen. The cheeseburger pods are amazing.
So
yeah, they were just amazing. And the fact is, you can get a child's meal as like a snack, and you just get the one. I think that's absolutely brilliant. A restaurant inside the park that me and my sister loved was the Sci-Fi drive-in dine-in experience. Sitting back watching the old shorts and the old movies while in a car was great fun.
A lot of people say that, but the food isn't amazing.
No,
the experience is great, but the food is theme park food.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't go back there on my next trip. I'm glad I did it. It was a nice experience. Yeah, but California Grill, I think, was probably my favourite restaurant when I went out last time.
Have you done brunch at California Grill?
No, haven't.
Really want to do that, but I've never been. I actually don't think they're doing it at the moment. But yeah, it's on my list of what I'd really like to do.
Yeah, it's on my. It's probably on my list, but I think it might be trumped by Chef's Arts Homecoming and Wine Bar George.
Wine Bar George, I've never been to, but obviously Homecoming's my favourite.
I've never been to either. So, and the brunches just look fantastic. So I'm definitely going to be trying to get some reservations for next year.
Fried chicken and donuts, Mark. Fried chicken and donuts. Hummingbird cake. You're good to go.
Oh, I've always liked fried chicken and waffles. So fried chicken and donuts sound amazing.
Next level. Next level. If you could swap the biscuit for mac and cheese, because who likes biscuit? Who wants a dried up old scone on there? I'll never get my head around that. No. What about attractions? Have you got any particular favourite attractions?
Expedition Everest is probably my favourite thrill ride over there. I absolutely love it. Can't get enough of that one. When we went back in 2017, it was the single rider line was 5 minutes. So we queued once with our fast pass. And then we just went on it again, and then again. And then we got looks from the rest of the party going, come on, we're moving on.
Front or back?
Back, definitely.
Mm-hmm. But that also means you're kind of at the front a little bit of the trip.
Yes. It would be quite nice to actually be at the front to see if you can see the hawk or the eagle that's up there that I've, seen it in videos but never seen it in real life.
Right. I've only ever been to the front once. And it was beautifully timed for the fireworks. I think it was Epcot. Just as we got to the very top and you could see the fire. Perfect timing.
Yeah, that is good timing, isn't it? That is good timing.
So I'm going to give you your perfect Disney day.
Ooh.
You've got 24 hours. You can stay where you want, eat where you want, do what you want, wear what you want, where you're staying, where you're going, how you're starting the day, what you're doing with it.
It's going to be a very long day. So in this perfect day, tired feet do not come into it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna start at the Polynesian, and breakfast will be Kona Cafe for Tonga toast.
Okay, so you're staying at the Poly.
I'm staying at the Poly.
Get the Tonga toast.
Yep. Then I'm going straight to Animal Kingdom.
Okay.
Got to get on Kilimanjaro safari in the morning. Then Everest.
A few times, probably.
Yeah, a few times.
Okay.
Festival of the Lion King is possibly my favourite show over there. So definitely got to put that in the bag. Flight of Passage, I'm sure it's amazing, and I hope to go on it next time, but we'll keep it out of this because it's my perfect day, and I don't know if it is as amazing, because it could give me motion sickness, and then it definitely would be would
Ruin
be
your
out.
perfect day.
Yeah. And then we'll go back to the hotel for a swim in the pool before over to Hollywood Studios for Slinky Dog. I've never done Star Wars. I'm assuming it's going to be amazing because I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so I'll definitely have that in.
I would think so.
And then I am going to go to Fantasmic rather than what would have probably been a lot of people's choice with Happily Ever After or the new one. And then to round the day off, it's a day where the Villains After Hour parties on.
Oh, so you get squeezing some more hours out of
We're
it.
squeezing some more hours. Bit of heavy metal music in the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
To throw you around a bit.
Yeah.
Talking about the fireworks, Enchantment, which replaced Happily Ever After, have you seen it? Have you been on YouTube? Have you had a look at the video of it?
I've seen clips from some of the vloggers. I'm trying to stay away from it because the Diz had one of their weekly podcast yesterday, and they said that it's better in person, and obviously a lot of people are judging it from just the streams online, and I don't think that's the right. I want to see it in person first, because I think sometimes you don't get that emotional connection to watching something through a 15-inch laptop screen or even a 55-inch TV screen. It's not the same.
Yeah, fireworks definitely don't work on TV.
I mean, some of the bits, especially in Harmonious, where they're shooting the fireworks out of the bank over the lagoon, look great. Can't wait. And, you know, some of the the Epcot, and then some of the you know, the taco barges, as they're calling it. You know, they looks phenomenal. So. But I think for the first time and all the way through, I've got to see it in person.
You want to see it up close and personal for yourself,
Definitely.
Of the times that you've been, were there any attractions that were there first time round that aren't there anymore that you were a bit disappointed that have gone?
The only one that I can probably remember would have been the backlot tour at Studios. And then when that closed, thankfully, we could have just popped over to Paris to see that before that then closed. I don't really remember anything else from the trip in 2006 that... I mean, Test Track would have been the crash test dummy version at the time.
That was a good version.
So that was a good version. But I still like the ride that it is now. So nothing that I've really missed, I wouldn't have thought.
And to fill the gap between your next trip to Walt Disney World, you went on one of the Disney cruises over summer.
I did. Yeah, that was sort of a very last minute, I'm just going to go. And I did. I went on my own, 2 nights out of Southampton, and then just immersed myself in the Disney magic.
Yeah.
Literally, because it was the Disney magic.
The name of the ship was the Disney magic.
But it was so nice just wandering around a ship with, you know, Disney music playing.
Yeah.
And then the second day was Marvel music, which was just as fun. So,
have you done a cruise before, or was it Disney that got you?
It was my first ever cruise. There'd always been talk with some friends to go and do a cruise, which wouldn't have been Disney, and that would have been out of San Diego. But it never materialised, and it was just like, I'd like to know if I could do a cruise. I'd like to know if, you know, I could actually stomach being on a cruise ship. And for 2 nights, I just thought, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Go for it.
Especially as I'd love to go to the Caribbean and Castaway Key at some point. So.
Yeah, well, now you've got the cruising bug next time, Disney World and the cruise.
Yes, and I may already have put a deposit down for Disney Wish.
Disney Wish, that's the brand new one, isn't it?
It's the brand new one, sailing out of Cape Canaveral on December the 5th. Which is obviously not only Walt Disney's birthday, it's also mine as well.
Oh, well, what a way to celebrate your birthday.
That's what I thought.
And what a great birthday to have, same day as Walt.
Yes, yeah.
And that ship looks brilliant. They've got the Marvel restaurant on there.
Yeah, the Star Wars lounge bar area.
Frozen restaurant. Oh, looks, it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, it does look really, really nice.
So much to look forward to in the new year, Mark.
Yes.
Lots to look forward to. Thanks for sharing your memories with us on the podcast for this episode.
No worries, thank you.
And have a magical day.
You too, thank you very much.
If you'd like to join me on the podcast one episode, we're looking for new guests for the new year, then drop me a message. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Podmagical is where we are. Here is something now on the podcast that we used to do, but haven't done for a good year and a half. If you're going over to Orlando, we can start telling you stuff that's going on, what the weather's going to be like, what the crowds are going to be like. So every episode, I'll do this at the very end. So if you are going over to Walt Disney World this coming weekend, over the next couple of weeks, you should have a quiet week next week. Then it's going to get busy the week after, because the week after is obviously Thanksgiving. So the crowds for the first week will be low, and then very busy for the week after. Very busy at the weekends in particular. Weather's not too bad. Mid to late 70s is what we're looking at. In the parks, it's already Christmas. The holidays are already on. Holidays at Universal are happening. SeaWorld's Christmas celebrations going on. The very merriest after hours are happening on select nights in the Magic Kingdom. Not the Christmas events over at Epcot yet. You've got another week of the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival. The Christmas Festival, the Festival of the Holidays at Epcot, starts the day after Thanksgiving, so the 25th of November is when that starts. Top tip for this episode of the podcast is all about the Genie app. Well, it's not an app, it's built into your My Disney experience, but I'm not talking about Genie Plus, I'm talking about the Genie app. There is an actual really useful feature in the free Genie app. You can go onto each individual attraction and it will give you the estimated wait times throughout the day. So you can have a look at each hour and you can see which hour is usually the quietest and the busiest. So if you don't want to pay for Genie Plus, you don't want to pay that $15, $16 a day, you would rather just save your money, you can have a look when attractions are busiest and quietest on the free Genie app. Just go into each individual attraction and it will come up there. You'll see the little graph. There's the top tip for this episode. Don't forget, we got brand new podcasts coming out every other Friday. So we'll be back in a fortnight's time. There's plenty of other podcasts to catch up on. If you want to listen back, we've got loads to catch up on. And don't forget to subscribe as well. Wherever you listen to your podcasts, hit that subscribe button. You never know when we might do a special like last week. So hit that subscribe button, then you don't miss anything. If you could give us a 5-star rating as well, that would be brilliant. That just helps people find us. And don't forget, if you're going to over America very soon, tag us in your pictures at Podmagical. And until next time, please stand clear of the doors.